You are listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report, episode 194.3. Grant Shouse previews Tuesday night's IU game in Eugene, Oregon.
You're listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report with your host, Greg Mengels.
Grant Shouse is back on the Central Indiana Sports Report, our IU guy. And Grant, if they can pull off this one tonight at Oregon, it would be a big win for the Hoosiers.
I think tonight they have put themselves in the win and you're in position. And if they win, I think they'll be a lock for the tournament. Or I don't know about lock, but I think they'll be in good shape. I like their chances tonight. They're playing really good basketball. We've won 3 games in a row. Haven't done that since, late December.
3 games in a row, by the way, all by double figures.
The thing is that the way the seed line looks right now for the Big Ten tournament, they're going to play Oregon tonight, and then they're going to play them again probably in about a week in the Big Ten tournament. So I like their chances. You have to win tonight. If you don't win tonight, you have to win at home against Ohio State. If you drop these next 2, you probably have fallen on the wrong side of the bubble. But right now, I like where they're at, and I think tonight's going to be a good game. It'll show a testament to see where this team's at.
Yeah, I think 2 more wins, and you don't even have to worry probably about the playing the first day of the NCAA tournament. If they can beat Oregon and Ohio State, and then if they lose the first game in the Big Ten, still I think they're pretty comfortable. If they lose one of these 2 games, then you start to worry about the Big Ten.
Yeah, because I think if you do lose one of these next 2 games, especially if you lose to Ohio State, and then you can kind of be forgiven tonight,
right?
If you lose to Oregon.
Yeah, it's not a crucial game in that they have to win, but it's a crucial game in that if they win, it puts themselves in a way better position.
Exactly, and you just don't need them to come out and lay an egg like we've seen them do this year, like against Illinois, which they did at home, or how they did it up at Wisconsin. I like where this team's at since Mike Woodson announced he was retiring. I don't see any scenario still where even if they were to go to the Final Four or make a deep run into the postseason where he'll return still.
Let's hope not.
Yeah, exactly.
Again, nothing against Mike Woodson, who has proven through his career that he's a pretty good coach. Even in the NBA, did a pretty good job. Nothing against Mike Woodson, who seems like a really nice guy. For the most part,
Yes.
But this is a program that needs to start from scratch and bring in a guy who's going to be the guy.
This next hire for Indiana will be the most crucial basketball coaching hire, I think, in the program's history since Bob Knight.
Yeah, since Bob Knight.
This is going to be the most crucial one.
Whether they go and get a veteran or not, they need somebody like Bob Knight who is in charge. That's what they need for sure.
Quickly, I want to brief on that. Everybody is starting, and we've said this before, and we're going to say it a lot on here, but everybody has started to kind of compare the success of the football team this past year, and that under first-year head coach Curt Cignetti, you kind of got to find your basketball version of Curt Cignetti. And, it doesn't exactly have to be kind of the path that he came, but how can you model and go about your basketball coaching hire the way you did your football coaching hire? And I'm 100% a believer in that. The football coaching hire was a home run, and I have put the trust into the president of the university and Pamela Whitten, and of course the guy who I think is the best athletic director in the country, and Scott Dolson, to make that decision. But it'll be interesting to see where they go.
And whatever committee they have to go through now, it'll be interesting to see that process.
And they've hired like a firm, like a hiring firm, to do the research and scope out these coaches. And it's the same hiring firm that they used to get Curt Cignetti. So I don't know if that'll play a factor, but those are the facts.
Well, let's talk a little bit about Oregon and what you need to be concerned about with the Ducks. And of course, it starts with their point guard, who is a scoring point guard, Jackson Shelstead.
Yeah.
Very good backcourt with Keyshawn Barthelme, who can score, and then the guy who's the distributor is TJ Bamba, and he
Mhm.
is a good one as well. It's really with them, not that Biddle is their big man who blocks a lot of shots. He can score as well. But really, I think your concern has to be the perimeter defense, which was really good in the last couple of games.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people have kind of forgotten because Oregon is, I wouldn't say fallen off, but they've kind of taken a step back from where they were at the beginning of the year. They were a top 10 team in the country at one point. They're 21-8 for a reason. They're 11-4 on their home floor. But this is a team that was down double digits midway through the second half against Wisconsin just a couple of weeks ago and came back and won the game in overtime.
Big win.
Yeah, that was huge. And they're coming off a game against USC. Thing is, after that Wisconsin game, they didn't play for a whole week.
Right.
And then they played USC, who they beat by 21 points. And then you get Indiana tonight, which is going to be senior night for them. So you would think maybe a little extra motivation to come out and get a win on your last game on that floor. That upgrade of a floor they put in. The one before was just such an eyesore, but the new one's kind of cool. So I'm looking forward to seeing it on TV. But I really think that Indiana has a good shot. I know that Oregon's record is really good. I really like Oregon's coach, Dana Altman, who's been there for a long time. He's got a really good coaching staff. Oregon, in my opinion, and I know that UCLA has been a powerhouse in basketball, but when it comes to adding the four West Coast teams into the new Big Ten, I think Oregon was the best addition for basketball, at least,
For
and
for
maybe
now at
football.
least.
Yeah, for now. But for this year,
Absolutely.
they're the best out of the four West Coast teams. I think they're better than UCLA, and I
No
think
doubt about
UCLA
it.
is really good.
No doubt about it. All right, they are, as you said, 21-8. They did have a 5-game losing streak, but really their only bad losses of the season came during that streak at Minnesota and at home against Nebraska. This is a team that's very talented, taking a lot and really taking care of business, except for from late January to early February.
They're playing really good basketball right now, and
Yeah,
I
they're a
remember seeing them.
concern for the Big Ten because they are definitely capable of being as good as anybody in the Big Ten for a week in the tournament.
Right, and I could see them making some noise. I saw a projected bracket of the Big Ten tournament for next week, and the first game on Thursday, which is at noon, kind of that dreaded noon game on Thursday of the conference tournament week, is actually Oregon playing Indiana in the
That's
8
right.
versus 9 game, and then Purdue would play the following game against the winner of Rutgers and Northwestern. But that is just the bracket for now. Of course, it's probably going to change
Yes.
between now and tip off on Wednesday night. So
There is a log jam behind the top two in the conference.
yeah, for sure. And I know. Well, I hope we can preview that and talk more about it because I'm really looking forward to Big Ten tournament. I think I think this is probably the most loaded Big Ten tournament maybe ever.
Right.
In terms of talent and just you adding the new teams that make the competition level better. I think it's one of the more anticipated Big Ten tournaments. And for a basketball fan like me, a basketball junkie, it's just right down the road. It's at Gainbridge Fieldhouse this year. But Indiana, I think, has played themselves out as of now. As of now, if they were to lose these next two, then maybe not. But as of right now, I don't think they're going to be playing on night one of the conference tournament, but we'll see.
Sure doesn't look like it. And, man, you really hope they don't lose these two games. The thing is, we've seen them play enough to know that it is possible that they could lose both games. It's also very possible and probably more likely at this point that they win both of them. But tough game tonight at Oregon. That Shellstad kid, watch him. He is a heady one.
Indiana, just they've got to play with the same, go out there and play with the same defensive toughness that they've played in the last couple games. Going back to the Purdue game where the defense was really good. I thought the defense was really good in their last game as well, and just hopefully they can keep up on that trend. The defense against Washington, especially against Purdue and Penn State, Miles Rice, you're kind of your on-ball defender, and when they've gone with the lineup of Rice, Galloway, Leal, Goody, and I believe it's Umar Ballo, either Ballo or Renew. It's one of the two bigs. That has been the most effective lineup on the floor. So it comes down to your rotations. It comes down in that particular aspect, I think, to coaching. And if that lineup's correct and they're hitting and they're doing the things that they're capable of doing, that they've been capable of doing all year long, but just didn't in that, 6, 7, 8 game stretch, then this is a whole different team. And we're probably talking about them, on the 3 or 4 seed line of the NCAA tournament, and not the fact that they've had to kind of play their way into the tournament. So tonight, Greg, is the biggest game of the year.
And the one thing I didn't mention as you were talking about that is it looks like IU will have an advantage in the front court. Biddle's a nice player, probably be the best court player in the game, but IU has way more and should be able to take advantage of that.
Well, and think about this. Umar Ballo and Miles Rice are kind of familiar with Oregon because they're coming from the old Pac-12. In certain ways, Umar Ballo played against TJ Bamba there at Oregon for probably a couple of years, who he would have to match up with inside. And Ballo was a solid, Ballo was a solid player at Arizona. I mean, they got him out of the portal because he was good for a reason. And he Ballo's one of those guys I think that will be remembered at Indiana for maybe some wrong reasons. The kind of what we would call a crash out at the end of the Purdue game, and where he just is an emotional game and his emotions got the best of him. And hopefully that's not what he's remembered for. And somebody pointed out after that loss where he kind of went off and lost his mind is due to the fact that Umar Ballo in his career, even when he began his career at Gonzaga back about 4 or 5 years ago, he's never missed the NCAA tournament. So he's playing for something, bigger than basketball. Maybe, he's not really – Indiana's not going to win the national championship. He's not playing for a national championship, but he's never missed the tournament. And especially in your final season of college basketball, he's never going to put on a college uniform again. He's not going to be back next year. And so you want to go out with a bang and make the NCAA tournament. And I think he's kind of had the chip on his shoulder here in the last few games, especially in the Purdue game and Penn State, Washington, where he really has kind of amped up the heat, and he's gotten better, and he's proven that Indiana is capable of making the tournament.
Thank you so much to Grant for joining the Central Indiana Sports Report once again. Look forward to his continued IU coverage. And thank you for listening. Please tell your friends about the Central Indiana Sports Report. Central Indiana Sports Report is brought to you by TG Media. And I love Susie.